Even though Doge was just designed to be like this ridiculous joke currency, the actual total transactional throughput capability of Doge is much higher than Bitcoin. And the fact that there's 5 billion Doge created every year is actually, I think, good for using it as a transactional currency.
The people who made money with crypto didn't learn any real skills. They didn't learn sales, they didn't learn marketing, they didn't learn management, didn't learn how to deal with stress, didn't learn how to grow a company, didn't learn how to deal with taxes.
They didn't struggle.
They didn't learn anything. They didn't struggle. Yeah. There was no pain. They bought a coin, they watched it go up. Now they tell the world how smart they are. They think they're a genius. They think they're too good to work, these people. Nah, I'm too smart to work. You don't understand. I know crypto. I bought this coin. My friend, every single coin went up. You're not a genius. Everything went up. All of them went up. You could have bought anything. Yeah, you were in the right place at the right time. You made a little bit of money, but you've learned absolutely zero.
There is a fundamental issue with, say, Bitcoin in its current form in that the transaction volume is very limited, but it is not useful as a day-to-day currency. Part of the reason why I think there's some merit to Dogecoin, even though it was obviously created as a joke, is that it actually does have a much higher transaction volume capability than Bitcoin.
Who lost the most money on crypto in the past 2 weeks?
I'm sat in the car with Jada. He's like, yo, bro. I already know what it is.
When they say yo, bro, it's a no-no.
Like, ETH, bro. And that's exactly what he does, bro.
That's how he does it.
It's about to blow. He has Binance up whilst he's doing it. He goes, look, bro, I can't believe this. So I put 100 grand in.
Would you go up to me like, hey, what the f***?
Yo, bro.
Yo, bro. The f***ed up thing was he couldn't even show him what it was at Binance because Binance shut down. Binance shut the bed.
Then I was about to buy Bitcoin and try to hold it, right?
Yep.
You know, that would have
been a disaster right now.
Oh, my God.
If the people in this room owned all of the farmland in the United States and you offered me a 1% interest in it, and you said for a 1% interest in all the farmland in the United States, pay me, it's this bargain price, $25 billion. I'll write you a check this afternoon. $25 billion, now I own 1% of the farmland. If you tell me you own 1% of the apartment houses in the United States and you offer me a 1% interest, so I'll have a 1% interest in all the apartment houses in the country, and you want another $25 billion or something, I'll write you a check. It's very simple. Now, if you told me you owned all of the Bitcoin in the world and you offered it to me for $25, I wouldn't take it because what would I do with it? I have to sell it back to you one way or another. I mean, maybe I have the same people, but it isn't going to do anything.
There are transactions that are not within the bounds of the law, and there are obviously many laws in different countries, and normally cash is used for these transactions, but in order for illegal transactions to occur, the cash must also be used for legal transactions. You need an illegal to legal bridge. That's where crypto comes in.
There's some really good technology in terms of sharing databases and verifying transactions that is talked about as blockchain. That is a good thing. Bitcoin and ICOs, I agree completely. It's one of the crazier speculative things where it's not as an asset class, you're not producing anything.
Look to what young people are investing in, because young people and what they're doing with their lives, they tend to be much more likely to set the trends for people like you and me. So if younger people are investing in crypto, for example, it's not something you should ignore, because in the end, younger people are going to keep doing it if it works reasonably well. And we've seen crypto has done well for some people. I interviewed Sam Bankman-Fried the other day, who at one point was worth $23 billion. He's 30 years old. He's a crypto guy.
In 2021, we traded 34 trillion US dollars equivalent of crypto.
Can you repeat?
Yeah, so 34 trillion US dollars equivalent in crypto in 2021. This year, so far, I think we're about the same. Later on, maybe.
But as cryptocurrencies are going down, so you will trade maybe more transaction with lesser value.
So when there's high volatility, like yesterday, I just checked this morning because somebody asked me this morning. Yesterday, we traded 120 billion. Yesterday, which is quite high. On a flat day, is like 30, 50 billion. The highest day we had so far was like close to 200
billion. So you can
billion.
imagine with somebody who is trading so much money, it is, I would change,
No, please.
What are cryptocurrencies?
They're a type of digital money, but instead of being controlled by a central government, they're decentralized using blockchain technology.
Cool. So what is Dogecoin?
I'm glad you asked.
It's a good question.
Well, it's the future of currency. It's an unstoppable financial vehicle that's going to take over the world.
I get that, but what is it, man?
I keep telling you, it's a cryptocurrency you can trade for conventional money.
Oh, so it's a hustle.
Yeah, it's a hustle.
Why didn't you say that, man? Don't bother everybody. It's a hustle. To the moon.
Bitcoin is the first global. That's really important, as Michael said. Private. Now, it's open source, but there's no government involvement. So private. So first global, private, digital, rules-based monetary system in the history of the world. It is a very big idea.
When you're acting in love, you're like a drop of water and you have the ocean as your army. When you act in fear, it's just you and your money. Now, you could take your money and put it in Bitcoin, put a credit form, put it in cash, or all your cash, and then stand up to the ocean, and who's going to win?
I could buy a Ferrari with Bitcoin.
Yes, you can.
I could buy a house with Bitcoin.
Correct.
I can buy whatever I want to buy with Bitcoin because it's just as equally valued as the actual dollar because the people say it.
What about hacking problems?
But you can't, that's what the blockchain prevents. Like, that's the security part of it.
If you knew who was really behind Bitcoin, you would run as fast as you fucking could to sell it. I know, 100%. If you knew who owned Bitcoin or who started Bitcoin, and you had Bitcoin, you couldn't sleep at night. I know, 100%. And when the real founder of Bitcoin comes out, it is my humble opinion, and there's nothing humble about me, Bitcoin will go to fucking zero. And a microsecond, whoop, like that. And I know who's behind Bitcoin. And it ain't some fucking Japanese guy in a cave. I know the guy. And when that comes out, you heard it here first. Bitcoin is going to zero.
Through an exchange, and they hold it directly on the exchange. We wouldn't suggest that for a couple of different reasons, but the primary one being, and you've probably read in the news, that some of these exchanges have been hacked, and those cryptocurrencies that people have paid good, hard, real dollars for have disappeared. So that's probably a less safe way of owning cryptocurrencies, particularly if it's a larger component of your overall portfolio.
What I always did was I believed in myself. Before anybody else believed in me, I believed in myself. And I believe that it's going to be, another cryptocurrency that's going to be just as large as Bitcoin someday. It's okay. That's no different from Uber and Lyft.
When we hear the word recession, we think of all those words you just thought about. People losing their jobs, people losing their houses, horrible time to invest, stock market crashing. People don't realize what's coming on up right here. People don't realize that this is going to be one of the best times that you are going to be able to make millions of dollars. Here's a fun fact right here. Most millionaires are made the year after a recession, 2009, 2010, because everything is the cheapest. You hear, again, the average person is going to be getting scared. Save your money. Don't spend. Don't invest. Take your money out of stocks. Don't, again, get involved in stuff. This is the best time. So let's learn about this. I'm a big numbers guy. I like to go off the stats. So when we do research over the past 100 years, the average bull market, which means we believe that the stock market is going to be able to continue to move itself on up, is going to last 9.1 years. Is going to have an average return of 476%.
And for those listening, bull run is up, bear is down.
Exactly. The average bear, or let's say the average recession, is going to last 14 months and have an average drop of 41%. Now that's over, again, the past 120 years. Let's again repeat those numbers one more time, okay? 9 years of climbing with a 476% return compared to a bear market, which is going to be 14 months of dropping with a 41% decline. We get it once a decade and you're going to miss out on this opportunity. If you talk to anyone, let's say who is over the age of 25, over the age of 30 back in 2008, I bet you every single one of them regret not getting into the stock market when it was at its lowest point. If you have money saved up, right now I'm saving a lot of my money. I'm saving a lot of my cash, not because I want to keep it in my savings account, because I know a lot of people would say, oh, you don't ever want to keep money in your savings account. I understand that, but because I want to be able to have that cash liquid for investing. Right now, the S&P 500 is down 15%. The NASDAQ, which is the tech stocks, that's currently down around 20% in a bear market at this moment. If we can see the S&P 500 drop anywhere near that 40%, I'm not even waiting for 40%. I'm going to wait for around 25%.
You're just going to launch.
And I'm launching everything because I know that statistically speaking, I'm going to have the next 9 years of growth.